Well, look at what we got here, folks. The Holy Grail. I know there's a couple of these in North America and Western Canada, but never been able to actually get in front of one from my own eyes. So this drill's the Horsch Avatar, and it's a 40-foot machine. And if we could dream up a drill, this would be it. So tomorrow, what we're going to do is we have some appointment time with some representatives from Horsch to talk about it and go through the drill with us. We are here in front of what we would consider one of the holy grails of no-till drills. Jeremy from Horsch Canada, or Horsch North America.
Horsch North America, yes.
We've stopped at the Horsch booth. We're super excited to talk about this drill in a way that that it could value our farm. We've been on this journey to find a replacement no-till drill.
Yep.
It may sound silly to some, but we need a no-till drill that's going to check a variety of boxes, and from seeding into sod, prepared dirt, no-till, black dirt, stubble. We're going to be throwing it into a bunch of different situations. So we need a no-till. We are big fans of the single disc. The Horsch Avatar is a newer model. When did it come out?
So the Horsch Avatar would have came out in 2016 globally, and then we started working with that product on our domestic platforms, to get everything like in standard measurements and the domestic type platform back in 2017.
Okay.
With a full launch starting in 18.
We've seen them. We've seen a lot of videos online and things. We haven't ever been in front of one until here at the show.
Yeah.
We do know there's some in Western Canada. They are out there. They're in the field. They're proven already in that short amount of time. This drill, the smallest variation of the Avatar SD in the rear trailing unit, from what I understand, is a 40-foot model.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So we were kind of hoping something in the 30, 35 foot. However, we have enough power to pull this. We're wanting to pull this with a JCB Fast Track 4220.
Absolutely.
So 230-ish horsepower.
And I'd like to touch on that real quick. One of the beautiful things about that Avatar 40 SD that we market in North America is you don't need a huge tractor to pull it. So we have customers today that are pulling these, like with, give an example, 724 Fendt, Puma size case, 7R John Deere, that class of tractor, which a lot of farmers have.
Very common size.
So why buy a big horse when you don't need it?
And you've built a drill to match that demographic, and from the looks of it, you've hit it perfectly. So very low draft.
Yes.
Horsepower requirements. 10-inch spacing on the toolbar. Again, it's a rear mounted toolbar. We've talked and looked at other drills where there's a dual gang mounted under the center of the unit. The Horsch Avatar series is available in another smaller unit in the European market that has that. However, our current drill is a dual gang setup, and we notice as we turn, you get a lot of overlap. So you'll see that the first gang seeding into the second gang's furrow. So you'll notice that in the turns where we don't get perfect coverage. A rear trailing arm or toolbar is going to help fix that for us. A little bit wider spacing, but we're not going to have all that overlap of one furrow getting damaged by the second gang.
And I'd like to touch on something there real quick. So one of the big topics whenever we started designing the Avatar here, this was back in the early 2010s, big topic we talk about in North America today is weed resistances.
Yes.
And one of our big markets today here in Western Europe for this machine is over in the UK and over in France, and especially in the UK where they're fighting blackgrass.
Yes.
So it's a very invasive grass that's very difficult to manage. When you have a single row of openers like what we do on the Avatar at 10-inch spacing, no matter which direction you go in the field, going back to what you were saying, you always keep parallel between the rows. We also have technology. We also have technology today where we can go in and we can row crop cultivate wheat with a row crop cultivator transformer that's here at the show on a 10-inch spacing.
Wow, perfect. So for the organic growers, tugging at their heartstrings, because you can now have that precision to make a 10-inch spacing work in more of a chemical-free way.
Yep, we've had some customers actually use that concept in Saskatchewan.
Really?
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, Canada. It's been done. You've heard it here first. Okay. That's super cool.
At the end of the day, it's all about finding the solutions that fit the operation.
100%. We like the Horsch line because of the refinement and the quality of the engineering. I'm not saying that to suck up. It is a very obvious observation on our end. We look at a lot of drills here at the show, and a lot of drills are just built with crazy heavy steel. And everything from bent plate to cast, it doesn't matter what form, a very, very just kind of a rude and crude heavy drill. The Horsch line of drills appeals to us and has that easy observation, because you look at where the steel's heavy and where it's light. It's heavy where it needs to be heavy, and it's lighter where it can be a little bit lighter. So the refinement and the engineering on a Horsch product, from my opinion, is quite high, and that appeals to us when spending this kind of quantity of money.
Absolutely. And I would say one thing too that we do quite a bit differently than a lot of the other makes and models that are out in the market is we use the weight, like you say, where it's necessary, but we also use more weight of the machine.
So weight in the machine?
Yeah. So I'll explain here. So like on the Horsch Avatar, we have a technology that we pioneered years ago called weight transfer. You hear a lot about it today in the planter world. We were actually one of the first ones to have that on row crop planters in the U.S. back when we launched in 2012. So today, when you take a look at no-till seeding, especially with a disc drill, you need to have weight to be able to push that row unit in the ground. So when this unit's going across the fields, we're actually lifting up that cart just a little bit, transferring that weight to the toolbar. That helps secure the toolbar and also helps secure those openers so we get a good precise depth.
Perfect topic, because with this being rear trailed, you're transferring that weight, correct me if I'm wrong, we would be transferring that weight to the toolbar over uneven terrain better because of the way the toolbar is going to flex and pivot over the contour of the land. Am I understanding?
Absolutely. So what we would have is with the toolbar sections that we have an accumulator system that's built in there, and even though we're lifting up that cart and transferring that weight, you've still got flexibility over uneven terrain.
Yes.
And we use the weight of the cart for stabilizing the toolbar. The other thing that will happen with that is the tires lift up just a little bit off of the ground.
Just take some weight off.
And then we have a very low PSI tire. I think on the Avatars that we do for North America, it's maybe less than 30 PSI that we have in the tires. Now we don't have hardly any footprint left in the field. One of the things that I find back home in North Dakota, we see it all over Western Canada, is wheel tracks in the field.
Yes.
This machine helps eliminate those.
I would like to maybe chat a little bit about the toolbar.
Yes.
And take a walk around the toolbar as far as how we adjust our depth. And then maybe if we could touch on how to calibrate this drill.
Absolutely.
This drill's really good with small seeds. That's a big benefit to us because we're going to be seeding lots of grass. Grass is we're a hay and forage farm. So grass seed is a big thing for us. We do a lot of custom seeding with grass, and we'd like to talk about how to calibrate such lightweight small seeds, which this drill has a pretty refined way to do that as well.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll move the camera and take two. So here we are, we're underneath one of the side of the frame where the electronic meters are. This box, or this drill here at the show, has a 3-compartment box. So 3 electric meters and a calibration system we're pretty excited for with dealing with lightweight seed.
Absolutely. So the Avatars that we work with in North America, like in the 40-foot version, would have a 2-tank system, but would utilize the exact same metering system as we see here. So the volumetric metering system that we use today on the Avatar is the same metering system we use on like our bigger carts that we build for our big hoe drills in the US and Canada. We use them for our smaller seeders here, fertilizer applicators. This metering system has been around for probably a little over 25 years. And the experiences that I've had in the field all over the US and Canada doing a wide variety of crops in a lot of regions, this thing is nuts on. And I would put it up against any metering system in the market today.
Perfect.
And I'm not saying that to be cocky, that's just coming from experience. And where that comes in at is number one is the electric motor drives that we use here for doing the metering. So inside the electric motor, we have a tachometer in there that's registering the amount of RPMs that we do. So we get a very quick feedback. The speed input that controls the system either comes through a radar gun that's on the machine or it comes through GPS. So it's a very, very quick reacting time.
Somewhat redundant system too.
Yep, exactly. And then one thing that I would say too about the system that we have here is is you take a look, for example, at some of the ground-driven systems that we see, still being used in North America.
Yep.
You think about the air carts, they're always driven on the left-hand side when it comes to the chain drives.
Yes.
You turn left, you underseed. You turn right, you overseed.
Yes.
With this one, with coming in through the GPS, we keep a consistent speed going to the computer for the seating as we're going around curves. If we're going around a slough hole or rock pile, we keep it consistent when we go through. And with this electric motor drive, we're able to control that speed in there very, very accurately. The way that our compression chamber works for making sure that we have the meter roller full. And then I would say probably one big technical thing on maintaining, that rate that we were talking about is the actual shape of our tanks. So today you take a look at, some of the seeders that are on the market, their tanks or their metering systems are very long and wide.
Yeah, I've seen metering rolls like 2 feet wide.
Yeah, exactly. And on ours, we use what we call a positive clean out sump, just like a hopper bin. Every last seed goes right into the meter to fill it up. There's no gaps or anything that can be in between. So to get accurate metering, we first got to fill that meter before we even look at the meter technology.
Perfect. I have a question about that then.
Yeah.
One of our problems being in the seeding of the hay seeds, or in grass seeds,
Yep.
is brome grass. Brome grass is a very tough seed because it's almost like aggregate. It sticks together, and the way the seeds mesh together, they become very hard, but they don't flow very well.
Yep.
And so we like brome grass in our area, but it's always part of a blend of alfalfa and timothy and maybe orchard grass or fescue blend. It's always in there somewhere, and it's in our gravity fed system. It doesn't play nice.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that positive chamber now is going to take a bit of that liability of the equation for us.
Exactly, because now whereas you'd have like flatter areas on different metering systems and a lot more surface area, ours is always funneling down. So
On 4 sides.
On 4 sides. So
You don't need an agitator that's essentially creating a compaction zone inside the tank.
Exactly. So you can see here in a little bit, we get some shots of this. All of our tanks that you see here, whether it be like on our Focus or on our Pronto or even the bigger carts that we build in the States, we all use that same principle in that metering. So getting back to the meter here, electric motor drive, these are all 12-volt motors.
Yes.
So these all run off the power off the tractor. Very, very simple. Bigger machines have to have alternators on them, but like for the Avatar.
Yeah, you see that on PTOs.
Yep. So for the Avatar, you're hooking this up to your tractor. You've got an isobus coupler in the back. You plug it in. All the power comes through that isobus coupler.
Not much less power to pull. We don't need to be running the PTO, turning a generator.
It's simple, simple, simple. And then with the different meter selections we've got, today we could go down. We've got customers planting, 2, 3, 4 pounds of canola per acre, up to 3 bushel of field peas. A lot of guys run that 160, 180 pounds on field peas, even going up, the 200, 250 pounds of fertilizer. Cereal grains, grass seed top production that you're talking about, we're doing a lot of that with Avatar in Wisconsin and different areas. So again, it's a very universal drill. I call it almost like a utility drill. You can fill in a lot of gaps with this machine when it comes to different crops, different tillage practices. If you're going into sod, like we talked about, if you're going into direct no-till, stubble, if you're going into like more of a min-till situation, a lot of versatility with the machine.
Well, that hits us to a T because we're going to be putting a drill like this into a variety of different situations and different seeding applications. With our custom hay, we'll go anywhere we have to go.
Yep.
So, let's just look at this this opener system real quick. This drill has the serrated closing wheel, and obviously we could put smooth ones on if we need it, and a very quick adjustment for depth control.
Absolutely. So the beauty of this machine is when we get to the end of the field and we need to do any adjustments to it, we can lift that up, say to waist height, and go through and make very simple, very quick adjustments when it comes to depth and even the pressure that you have on your press wheels back here in the back.
We're not crawling under the center section of a drill.
Exactly.
Special tools.
One other thing I'd point out too, so when you take a look at some of the other 10-inch, 40-foot machines in the market, comparing apples to apples, the other beautiful thing about this machine is there's only 10 grease zerks on it.
On the whole machine?
On the whole machine.
Tell more. That's crazy.
We use rubber torsions on the rock shaft for our openers. So we eliminate pins, we eliminate bushings, we eliminate all those pivot points.
And you get a consistent pressure.
And you get a consistent pressure going across the field for seed depth. And that's one of probably the biggest selling features of this machine is just the overall simplicity. We talked about, the simple calibrations.
Yes.
We talked about the simplicity of transport. Simplicity of maintenance is phenomenal in this machine and out of those 10, there's also 4 tires that are included in that, or 4 wheel ups.
Oh, wow. And what would be the duration? Would you grease those every 50 hours or?
Yeah, I think it's like around 50 hours. And then we have a few pivot points here in the back that has to be serviced like normal. But when it comes to the actual row units and the toolbar in the back, there's no service points.
That's fantastic. We're getting soft in this world sometimes. So how do we make it easier? Rubber torsion and less grease nipples. That's a hell of a
Build simpler, more efficient equipment.
100%. We're on board with that. So we do love our grease, but this is efficient. So while we're at the back here, precariously held with a camera, what else can we look at here? We have a single disc opener, obviously, which is appealing to us. What degree of discs are these?
So on the Avatar openers, we use a 6-degree angle.
Yes.
With a 3-degree overlay.
Oh,
So it's a compound angle.
that's what's helping it be so easy to pull.
So less draft,
Yes.
a little bit less wear, and better closing. Because today, when you look at most single disc drills, they're set on a 7-degree angle, and then you have the seed boots, so they're making more of what we call a V-trough in the field. You look at any single disc drill out there, we're only closing from one side. It's very hard to close a V-trough with one single wheel.
Interesting point, because another drill we were looking here at the show, their claim to fame was it being, I'm not going to name their number to call them out,
Yeah.
but it was in the double degree category of what this is, and that drill would take quite a bit more horsepower to pull because of that, and it would help create that shelf.
Yep. So what we have is now when we do like a 6-degree angle and a 3-degree overlay for a compound angle blade, we almost create a furrow that looks like this. So as we're slicing in at a little bit of an angle, the furrow's falling back on itself. It's a lot easier to close, especially in some of those harder no-till conditions, your grassland that you were talking about.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is a silly analogy, but what reminded me in your description there is if you ever got a cut on your hand, if you cut your skin just slightly perpendicular to the skin, it's very hard for it to heal.
Absolutely.
For the human body, it's very hard to heal that cut, but if it was on a little bit of an angle, it kind of falls back on itself, and the human body, it would do almost exactly what you're saying. That incision or furrow would be falling back onto itself.
Excellent.
Am I understanding?
Excellent. Absolutely. The other thing that I would point out back here on the back too, that's I don't know of anybody else that has this in the market today, but it's also an adjustable camber on the closing wheel.
On these serrated closing wheels?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the serrated closing wheels that we have the ability to change the camber on depending on moisture conditions.
Exactly.
Show us how we would adjust the depth. So we've already mentioned how that is a wear point on other drills. We love how not only they are exposed and easy to get to adjust this depth, but that's a very durable looking system, properly engineered. So that's an appealing factor to us, just because going from cover crops to grass to cereals, it would take you 5 minutes to adjust all your openers on there. And our current drill, we're probably 40 minutes. So that's pretty cool. And then the closing wheels can be pulled up right out of the way in a wet condition. There's a pin where when you lift that arm, there's a pin that can lock the wheel completely in the up position. So that's pretty cool. Not that we're blessed with that much water right now, but how many positions of pressure is...
I just wanted to show you the wheel here. So
sure.
this would be the seed lock wheel right here. And then with that, depending on the conditions, we can lower that down, or if it gets wet out, we can pull that back up.
Oh, perfect, perfect. I didn't realize that was so easy to get to. I didn't realize those could pull directly out of the way.
And then you were asking about your down pressures on your closing wheel. We have 3 different settings here where we just do like so.
Perfect, and that's easy to change too. Holy smokes.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
And like we say, when you have this in the yard, you've got it up at waist height. That's all done from a standing position.
Oh yeah, we're down on the ground right now because it's kind of on display here, showing as it would be in field position.
So depending on the closing characteristics you need, if you're needing to be able to, for example, like we were discussing there, let's give the scenario of seeding canola.
Yes.
Okay, we got moisture at 2 inches. We've had a very dry fall. How do we get that seed into the moisture, or do we just dust it in and wait for rain? Well, at the end of the day, we want to get it to moisture. So what we can do is set our depth deeper with the machine, then adjust the camber of this wheel to drop it more in the bottom of the furrow. That way I've got a little bit of a deep furrow situation, and I've got the right amount of soil on top of the seed.
So when it does rain, it's going to help collect that water a little. It's going to be the path of least resistance. Gravity's going to go to the low spot a little bit quicker based on how the soil's piled on top of the furrow.
Yep. And the cool thing is, by doing that, now we talk about, seeding conditions, and with this single row toolbar, is that with comparing to the double rank toolbar that we were talking about earlier.
Yes, under the machine.
There's a speed limit to those when it comes to stepping. You think about hoe drills that are in the area. There's a speed limit to stepping because of soil movement in that rear rank. With one row of discs, there's no stepping effect. So your seeding speeds can be increased from the traditional 4 to 5 miles an hour to 6, 7 to even 8, maybe even faster depending on your field conditions.
Interesting. In our drought conditions where things are a little powdery versus wet, what would you say the maximum speed of this drill would be if we were to throw our JCB Fast Track 230 some 40 horse machine on flat ground? What could we pull this at?
I would say of all the customers across North America that we have with the Avatar, a good average speed is between 6 and 6.5 miles an hour.
Well, that's impressive, because that's what, about 11 kilometers an hour?
Yep. 10, 11K.
Perfect. Because right now, our drill, we're maxing out at about 10 and a half, and we're not doing as good a job at that. So if we can get it down to 9, that's what kind of the tipping point to where we start to not be able to do as good a job. So with this being 40 feet wide, we're gaining quite a bit of efficiency because we can pull a wider drill with no draft, obviously, but then also do a better job at that higher speed. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much for the time. I know you're hot commodity here today with how many people are wanting to talk to you guys. There's people here that literally probably speak any language. German company though, supporting the German Hanover Agritechnica 2023. So thank you for the amount of time. We've had several conversations leading up to this today. We had to learn about this drill. So as much as you've shown or seen us talking today with Horsch, is we've had to learn about this drill ourselves. We're here to learn. We're here to try and find a drill to buy, learn what we need. We are very interested in this Horsch Avatar. This might be the perfect ticket for us. I hope it does. We need to go home, talk to a banker, and see what we can do here, and our local dealer. Jeremy's with Horsch North America, so obviously supporting us in these conversations and dealer support. So we wouldn't be buying the drill directly from you; it'd be going through a dealer. So that's another interesting battle here that we've been facing. Is a lot of these drills. There's drills coming from every country around the world here at the show. Some of which we can't even buy. We have to import them ourselves into Canada. And not that that's not possible, but parts and service, let alone the startup. These are very complex to start up for the first day, doing all that process. So sometimes buying a drill, not that we would have any hindrance or negativity from another country, but some of these places we don't have dealer support. Horsch is worldwide. Am I wrong? So we can easily have this serviced and sold in Canada. So that's another big ticket for us. We love the German engineering. We love the look and the practicality of this drill.
And for Western Canada, we have a very good integral dealer network there that covers in all 3 prairie provinces. So there is local sales, service, and parts available.
So that's very, very intriguing for us. We've been looking at a lot of pretty cool drills, but Horsch might be able to provide the whole package for us. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Well, let's hope that the banker comes through, and don't tell my wife how much money I'm wanting to spend on this. She's on a need-to-know basis. She'll be happy that I get home earlier at night. I'm not seeding 24 hours a day. I'll get more family time in. I think that's going to be my sales pitch on this, is I'm going to get done so much faster in the field.
One thing I would say though, that's one thing bad about Agritechnica, is the Christmas wish list. It's very long here.
Well, I'm parched because I've been drilling for 3 days. So I can't get enough hydration in me. So completely parched, and a lot of talking, a lot of speaking, talking to good people from here at Horsch. So thank you again, Jeremy.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Thanks.